If I could, I would totally be at the Idea World this year. It is the premier global fitness convention and it's coming to Sacramento on July 17 to 19. And why would I go? Because it is the #1 event in my opinion to get your technical knowledge updated with a sprinkling of business tips and motivational strategies as well, all under one roof. Now you can earn up to 20 CEC hours from internationally recognized educators, all while connecting with the industry's most passionate professionals. The Idea World Fitness and Nutrition Expo will actually run alongside the convention, and it's free and open to the public. It will feature cutting-edge gear, technology, and nutrition products from leading global brands. Don't miss this career-defining event. Register now at ideafit.com/world. When you use the code FBP25, you'll receive an exclusive discount on your full registration. Sacramento, California, July 17 to 19. You can join fitness professionals from around the world as Idea inspires the world to fitness.
Welcome to the Fitness Business Podcast with your host, Justin Tamzett. With over 30 years in the fitness industry, JT is a globally recognized authority with a mission to lower healthcare costs worldwide by getting more people moving and moving more often in quality facilities with qualified professionals. Every episode, JT digs deep with our guests to bring you insights that will help you lead, innovate, and boost your bottom line. So let's dive in. Take it away, JT.
What I love about what we do on this podcast is we fill your cup with education. Sometimes it might even overflow. But we also then have super practical and real life examples of the lessons you've heard. And this episode is going to bring all season 3 marketing education to a crescendo as Kim from Retro Fitness will take all that theory and share how to use it practically in your business. You're going to love this episode as it will answer and show you how to build a campaign, drive a campaign, and reap the rewards. So let's rip into the last episode of season 3 and remember our theme, from talk to action. Our FBP Insiders community is growing fast. So a big shout out to Gary, David, Nathan and Kaiko. Welcome aboard as FBP Insiders. As an FBP Insider, not only do you get early access to episodes, but you also unlock exclusive savings and offers. For example, Brave Moon Podcasts, Mystery Shopping for Fitness Businesses, and My Gym Rewards all have bonuses for our FBP Insiders. You'll also get access to the recordings of our live events. Lindsay on the power of emotional intelligence, Matt on how to finance and fund your fitness business, Kathleen with game-changing recruitment and retention tips, Frank's goldmine session on using gamification to boost member loyalty. That's over 2 hours of practical, proven business education right there. And all this for less than $5 a month. It's actually insane value. Just head to patreon.com/fitness business podcast and hit become a FBP Insider. Simple, fast, and a massive ROI on your $5. OMG, I nearly forgot. As an FBP Insider, you also have access to the full and uncut interview with Dr. Patrick Porter. This is a deep dive into brain fitness that you're not going to hear anywhere else. And it also brings us to the final Wise Words episode for this season. Now, Dr. Patrick Porter is an award-winning author, educator, consultant, entrepreneur, and speaker. He's actually been on the cutting edge of brainwave entrainment technology for 32 years. His newest brain training platform, BrainTap, is distinctly designed to activate the brain's neuroplasticity. The BrainTap headset uses light and sound technology in combination with Dr. Porter's proprietary guided visualization audio sessions to help people achieve brain fitness. I have a BrainTap and I use it most days. Now, in all of the Wise Words this season, Dr. Porter has dropped plenty of actions. So I finished today with 2 questions. Where do I start if I'm feeling overwhelmed with all of these suggestions? And how will I know if I actually have a better brain?
Well, the first thing to start is start drinking half your body's weight in ounces of water and put salt in it, because most people are dehydrated and your brain is a hydro engine. So not only does it need light energy, it needs water to function. And that doesn't include coffees and teas, and unless it's herbal teas, and sodas, definitely not. I always tell people, if you want to drink your coffee and teas, then drink twice as much water in that amount. So if you want to have a 10-ounce Coke or whatever, then you better drink 20 ounces of water before, because you got to flush it out of the system because it's super toxic. And what most people do is when they really do that, they're going to find that they didn't really need the Coke. They just were thirsty and they won't even drink the Coke, or they'll drink less of them. And so that's really key. The next thing is if you don't have the brain tap, to start those breathing exercises we talked about earlier in the show. If you have the brain tap, it takes no time. Just have your headset there beside the bed, wake up 10 minutes earlier than you usually would, put on one of the AM sessions. Because any sleep you missed, you're going to recap it. You're going to regain that sleep with that 10-minute AM session, and you're going to wake up in the right brain state. Your brain is balanced. You're going to have energy. You're going to be positive about your day. We have focus, concentration, motivation. We have a whole bunch of AM sessions that are geared toward motivating you to get started. The other is in the middle of the day, you can do what we call box breathing. Most people do 4, but if you have to start with 3, start with 3 and do that for 4 or 5 minutes. Now, if you have the brain tap, you just pick one of our 90% that are theta trainings that reboot the brain, and you're going to have that recovery. At night, do that breathing that we had. If you're not doing essential fats, go get you a good quality olive oil. They show that 1 tablespoon of olive oil a day will reduce your risk of dementia and Alzheimer's by 40%. So just start putting that on your salads, or even drink it like you would cod liver oil. It's your body needs that essential oil because it's going to break down and make all the other fatty chains that our body needs. And most people are fat, even though they're eating bad fats, your body can't use those. Trans fats are probably one of the worst things for the brain. So this means any fried food and things like that you want to avoid. But most people are going to find that they're just calmer. They're just making better decisions. They're sleeping better through the night. They're waking up with more energy. So when you're doing brain tap, what we recommend is a minimum is every 72 hours. Every day is best. And when we did the dementia study, they did it 3 times a day. So that way they were training their brain to stay in the right rhythm at the right time of the day. So we have morning sessions, afternoon and evening sessions. Depending upon when they do it, they would just pick that session for that part of the day.
Make sure you head to fitnessbusinesspodcast.com to get all Dr. Porter's contact details. And seriously, do yourself a favor, grab a Brain Tap membership. 14 days free. Just give it a crack and see if you like it. For our FBP insiders, there is a special link to get your own Brain Tap. We'd appreciate if you use our exclusive link to buy your headset or to grab a membership. So go to patreon.com/fitnessbusinesspodcast or check the show notes for that very unique link. Now, just before we launch into the chat with Kim about building brand campaigns that convert leads to sales, we have another free online event coming up. The globally recognized unicorn, Mark Fisher, will share the systems he used to scale Mark Fisher Fitness to nearly $34 million in revenue. So go to fitnessbusinesspodcast.com/online events to register now. Kim Gouch is the Chief Brand Officer for Retro Fitness, the fast-growing, high-value, low-price fitness gym franchise that aims to inspire and empower individuals to live their best lives. As Chief Brand Officer, Kim is charged with spearheading the implementation of a brand-defining initiative that encapsulates Retro Fitness's complete approach to exercise, health, and fitness. You're going to hear what that campaign is very shortly. What I love about Kim is she has over 30 years of brand building experience across hospitality, food, and beverage, as well as consumer brands. And this interview, she shares all that knowledge with you. So Kim, what does an authentic brand message actually mean?
When you have brand, you have emotion, or you're supposed to evoke an emotion. So an authentic brand is committed to evoking an emotion. Now, it can be multiple, but really truly has to be one solid focal point. When we look at creating a brand and we look at creating that emotion or evoking an emotion, it starts internally first. It starts with your immediate team. So what I mean is we want to build on the relationship that we have with the team that's going to work to build the brand. Those people eventually become your brand evangelists. From there, those brand evangelists spread the word, right? So what builds a brand is the messaging that's meant to inspire those people that will eventually inspire those people outward. And those people outward, by the way, hit many facets of your network. They could be in your business to business side, right? So franchise development, it could be vendors, whatever the case is. Those people need to be speaking from the same sheet of music just as much as the other facet, which is your consumer. And so if you inspire and you connect that mission, that's your first step. Your second step is promote what it is you're preaching, right? So what do you want your brand evangelists to promote? The promotion doesn't come in the form of what we all typically think of promotion, which is hoopla and yay and let's have a party. I'm talking about promoting the true meaning or essence of your mission. So as an example, when I look at how we promote retro fitness, for example, then we look at what is our mantra? Beyond Get Real, the mantra is 24/7 exercise, health, and fitness lifestyle. So our internal program with our people starts there. They live and drink and breathe that mission, and it naturally then flows out. So to sum this part up, it's a natural emotion. It can't be robotic. It can't be made up, or it can't be mimicked. It has to come naturally from within.
Do you find to help promote that authentic brand within your team, you really got to do that face to face? You can do it via emails and you can do it via Zooms, but you get people drinking the Kool-Aid when you're face to face?
It's absolutely correct. But I will tell you a little fitness anecdote. It's a muscle that must be exercised. So it takes discipline to continue that momentum. And I do agree, it's face to face at first and always. But when you can't be face to face, you have to fill in those blanks. And filling in those blanks means little things like your salutation, your greeting on your communications. It's that constant repetition of that mantra. So to use Get Real as an example, every communication I send out somehow is associated to Get Real. So it's maybe if you had a celebration, I'd say, JT, way to get real with that celebration. It's about your journey, so make it real for what it is you want to associate it. And that way, no matter if you're face to face with me or you're reading an email or you're seeing a social media post, there's always a reference to my mantra. And that's how it starts and that's how it continues.
I love it. I also like the fact that it doesn't matter whether you're an organization the size of Retro or you're John Smith's personal training studio with just John and Fiona that work there. It doesn't matter how big your organization is. All of the team are reinforcing that brand. So then my second question for you is, how can brands create a holistic branding strategy that maintains this cohesive message? Because I think in our industry, we try to get so many messages across to our team, but more importantly, the variety of consumers. How do we keep it cohesive?
So, it's interesting because I think there are several philosophies in business about cohesion, not just in branding or in marketing, but in general, right? How do you keep a cohesive office? How do you keep a cohesive team? How do you keep a cohesive message? And really, it comes down to that solid brand foundation, right? So you know how a lot of business talk about culture. And they say, oh, our culture, we're this way or that way with our culture. Your culture really is actually the essence of your brand and the essence of your brand message. So if you have, let's say, key points of differentiation within your brand, and you have 2 or 3 of those, part of your culture is always touching base on those key points of differentiation, because that's what makes you up, right? I have brown hair, you have black hair. Or my key point of differentiation is I'm a female, you're a male, right? So it really starts there with that cohesive message. Sounds really simple, but it is. It's not rocket science. It's that discipline like I talked about. Then you have your DNA. So you've got your key points of differentiation. Now, where's my DNA? My DNA is the guide that takes me through my audiences, my strategy, all of my tactical outlay, if you will. And so when I look at Retro and I say, okay, we are a 24/7 exercise, health, and fitness brand, that's my DNA. Of that DNA, then my point of differentiation starts to live outside of that, but it's that cohesion that keeps it all together. When we layer our brand messaging with different touch points, we always make sure that we have to maintain the authenticity. That's what keeps us in our lane. And all too often, some brands fail because they forget to stay in that lane and they want to be something for everybody. There's no need to do that. If you start with that solid foundation and you know what your key point of differentiation is and you know what your brand DNA is, it's very easy to stay in your lane. And then when you're in your lane, you can diversify your messaging outward, whether it be social media, advertising, marketing and promotions. Doesn't matter the discipline or the multiple disciplines, but that lane keeps you honest, if you will, right? And it keeps you focused so that no matter who on your team, new, old, or somewhere in between, if they know how to stay in that lane and they're given the tools in that lane, you will by default have cohesion and you will have everybody drinking the Kool-Aid, singing from the same sheet of music and speaking that language.
I love that. And I do agree with you. I think if we stick to our lane, there's enough people for us. The problem is maybe we get greedy, or I guess the thing with branding, on that is that maybe we just don't get the response as fast as we would like. So branding's a long game, isn't it? It's not a short game.
You betcha, man. It is such a marathon and not a sprint. And I think this is where brand kind of gets a bad rap. People inherently know brands are necessary, right? We know Coca-Cola is the most recognized brand in the world. We know Nike, just do it, the most branded message out there, right? Starbucks, another perfect example of a brand. But I think a lot of times people forget how long it took to build those brands. And I think people forget how much discipline goes into maintaining that brand integrity and the brand standard and all the disciplines around that. And so a lot of times people in businesses will discount a brand instead of realizing that's the most important primary part. When I talk about DNA, that's it. That if you don't have DNA, you don't exist, right? And so when you're going through this marathon, many people get anxiety over it because they want it to happen tomorrow. And then I think many people fail to realize the amount of time it does take and the build upon build upon build. All of those efforts culminate into that marathon and the win. It's interesting too. You get a lot of people who have the misconception of, oh, isn't branding marketing? Absolutely not. Branding is emotional. Marketing is transactional. You can't really have one without the other, but everything starts from brand.
And I love how you mentioned discipline there. And I think this is a real key because the consistency and the discipline is critical, as you say. But in the world that we now live in, there are multiple channels to build our brand. So perhaps using Retro as an example or another brand that you've had experience with, how do you ensure that consistency across multiple channels? And not with these rambunctious Gen Zs that just want to go and do their own random shit on Instagram.
That's right. I know. We got some renegades out there, let me tell you. It's not easy, but it sure is fun. And I love a challenge. So I'm sure that's why I naturally just the course of my career got me to this point, because I do love that challenge. It starts with brand standards. So I touched a little bit earlier about, being in your lane. Part of your lane is made up of brand standards. And when you are building a brand new company, a brand new brand, you have to ask yourself, what do I want to be when I grow up? What do I look like? What are my colors, right? What's my typography? Do I want my font to be scripty and fun and fluffy, or do I want it to be very, rigid and strict, right? And that really actually is a whole huge exercise in itself, because what you're trying to do is establish certain visual elements that connect with the ultimate consumer, right? And that's that, yes, it's transactional, but the emotional part of it. Will my consumer connect with the word red and the color red, or will they connect with the word blue and the color blue? And how will that word be written, and what will it look like on a page? And a lot of people, again, have a misconception of how much time that exercise takes and the relevance and the super importance of that exercise. So the brand standards becomes your Bible, your DNA, and it's made up of, what do I want to be when I grow up? Who are we? Who do we stand for? What do we talk about? What is our true brand essence? Once you've established those brand standards, then you create that environment of the Kool-Aid. And the Kool-Aid then is the brand evangelist, right? So I'm going to drink that Kool-Aid. I'm going to understand all the nuances, all the architecture, all the foundational pieces. And now I feel empowered to actually speak that speech, and I become that brand evangelist. You know, I love the ideation to execution exercise as well, because when you want to maintain consistency or lock in the discipline of consistency, you actually have the exercise ideation to execution almost every day. You've developed your brand, you have your brand standards, those are the tools in your tool chest. And then when you go to act on a new initiative, whether it's your annual plan or whether it's a one-day promotion, the ideation starts with the tools in your tool chest. The execution part of it is what do I need to do to see success? And using all of these tools and putting them in play throughout that journey, you will see success. And by the way, many brands fail first before they succeed. Coca-Cola is a great example. They've launched products that have completely fallen flat. Did it kill them?
There's some shit product out there from Coke.
Yes, right. But did it kill them? No, it made them stronger because they used the tool chest and the ideation and execution to get through those. And I look at retro fitness similarly, where I say, we have developed a really awesome model right now, and we call it the RF21. It's our new and improved engineered space made for female friendly and male friendly and, strength training and cardio and smoothies and all these great things, right? At the end of the day, what it's about for us is everything came from the mantra of 24/7 exercise, health, and fitness. It all comes back to that. I look at brand cohesion as an onion. You can peel layer upon layer upon layer of an onion. What do you still have? You just have multiple layers versus one whole onion. It's the same thing with brand cohesion. And then lastly, I'll tell you this. To achieve higher consistency rates, so higher success rates, and achieve the best work, you take the guesswork out of it because you're using your brand standards. And when I teach new team members, I'm mentoring college-age students coming out of college. That's one of the very first things I teach them. You take the guesswork out of it by using your brand standards, and you will have a consistent message.
I love that. I think that is just such a powerful message that I think a lot of gym owners around the world and of varying sizes have their brand, but it's probably in their head. There's not a written brand standard. And before everybody jumps onto ChatGPT and says, write my brand standards, you really got to write them yourself. I don't think Chat's going to be able to help you on that one too much.
Absolutely agree with you there. I love ChatGPT. I love AI. I love what it's doing for all of us in our relative disciplines. But I will tell you, there's no way it could ever replace building brand standards. There's just no way, because the emotional part of it, that's robotic. So it can rewrite words, or it can, rewrite sentences and stories. And you do have to tell a story when you're building a brand. But at the end of the day, you absolutely can only evoke that emotion through a personal human exercise.
So let's turn all this branding stuff that we've talked about into a case study. Let's look at the Get Real movement that you guys are doing. So first off, what is the Get Real movement at Retro Fitness?
I got to tell you, I absolutely love talking about this because it just means so much, and it's so many things for so many different people, but not diluted.
I got to hold you there. You've drunk the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I am the Pied Piper of the Kool-Aid, my friend. Yeah, so no, it's quite all right. I love it. I shared earlier about the conversations I had with our CEO and, at the onset at my onboarding and even prior to that. And when I talk about heartbeat and I talk about soul and mantra, when I was doing my research with Retro Fitness, I realized we were onto something. There were pieces. There was a brand standard, if you will, but we were really missing that connection to our soul. And that's when it dawned on me, Get Real is our connection. Get Real is our soul. It's our heartbeat. It's everything. And the coolest thing about it, JT, is Get Real is the mantra of being the best you can be. Not about working out in the gym and, getting your glutes stronger. Not about having a beach body. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Get Real, what's real for you. What is your Get Real journey? Your Get Real journey might be working out in our club, but beyond that, your Get Real journey can be, I just want to be the best person I can be. I want to live my best life. I want to be the best human being I can be. And if Retro Fitness can help you do that in any way, shape, or form, I'm all down for it. And I love Get Real because it's positive sentiment. You've been in this business a long time. It has somewhat of a bad rap historically when we talk about the fitness journey of just having that beautiful body or, the perfect body, right? I'm not saying that that's wrong, but that's so minimal in the grand scheme of things of people living their best lives. And the positive sentiment from us in the Get Real movement extends beyond your gym membership. It goes into our health and nutrition lifestyle. The 24/7 key point of differentiation at Retro Fitness is better eating habits, nutrition, meditation, being okay with who you are, no matter what that is, just being okay with who you are. That's your Get Real moment. And I love the fact that I work with a team of individuals from the top down. All of us have embodied that journey and that empowerment, but also have the empowerment to say what it is our Get Real journey is. And when I developed the Get Real campaign this year, I actually created a visual map. And in the visual map, I have Get Real in the middle. And then all around it, I have every single touch point from our support center employee staff to our franchisee community, to our regular consumer community, our business to business and franchise development side of things, to personal trainers, everything we touch at Get Real and at Retro Fitness, I put in this map. And then I connected the dots and I made sure that all the dots had to connect. And if they didn't, I was still missing something. So when I built that out, all of a sudden all the dots connect and I'm like, oh my God, this is fabulous. This is our soul. This is our purpose in life. I just can't shout it enough. I absolutely love the fact that we are presenting a brand called Retro Fitness to be the most responsible brand we can be in our fitness space, in the HVLP space. We are taking a holistic and responsible approach to just living your best life.
I think they're two great words, Get Real. And I think they appeal to so many different generations and so many different people. I guess my question for you is, Get Real is not your tagline, it's a campaign, isn't it?
It's a little bit of both, actually. Before I came on board, it was a tagline. And it was, Get Real was part of our brand recognition, if you will. What I did when I came on board, being the brand person that I am, said, oh, this has to be much more than just a stamp on a page. This has to be much more than just 2 words.
And that's what a tagline is, isn't it? A tagline is just a stamp on a page, whereas what you're talking about is something really deep.
Yep, you betcha. And that's why it becomes our soul and our heartbeat. So you are correct. It is a campaign, but so much more than a campaign. I said earlier about discipline and that approach. This is that disciplined approach. This is saying, I'm taking 2 words that mean a lot and making them have a deeper meaning. And I'm taking those 2 words and I'm running them across our corporate culture, our franchise community, our business development efforts, our executive team, everywhere, every tendril in our system now is that campaign of Get Real and your Get Real journey. So when I say way to get real with your efforts, way to get real with the results you produce, way to get real with your fitness journey, no matter how I say it, who I say it to, it all means the same thing. It's the mantra of empowerment and positive sentiment.
So just from a logistics perspective, you've got a tribe of people across the USA with Retro Fitness. And you mentioned it before, it's in your emails, but how do you just get the club manager in Omaha, Nebraska to be diving into being Get Real when you're not actually with them?
Yeah, it's not easy, but it sure is fun. It's a great journey. So what you do is the discipline part of it, that consistency, the repetition, and back in the day, they would say TV was the king of media, right? Because of reach and frequency. I take that same approach to how you get or feel people drinking that Kool-Aid. It's reach and it's frequency. So it's written communication, but it's also bringing them into that journey with you so that they can experience it and start to feel the chill. When I look at a restaurant menu and they have pictures of the food, I always say, hey, does it have gleek factor? Does it make you gleek? Does it make you go, I got to have that, right? It's the same thing here. If I bring you into that fold and I give you that gleek factor and you go, I got to have it, I've got you. So what does that look like? That looks like I can create some video with you. I can ask you to create your own video. I can ask you to actually jump on board with some social media efforts or across multiple channels. But what I'm doing is I'm bringing that psychology of I'm inviting you into my fold. I'm not dictating to you what this is. I'm not telling you you have to do it, because most people, just by human nature, they will say, I don't like to be told what to do. But if you actually invite them to your party and you invite them to partake and really look at that menu and get that gleek factor, guess what happens? They start ordering. And then they start saying, oh my gosh, you've got to try that. It's so good, right? So the Get Real mantra with Omaha, Nebraska, eventually over time, given all those multiple layers of effort, they eventually say, I love the Get Real. I'm a Get Real person. This is what Get Real means to me. And nothing makes me happier and more giddy when I feel people say back to me, Kim, I got real today. This is what happened. It's awesome.
Yeah, I can imagine that would be a phenomenal feeling. So let's imagine just for a moment that people listening today have drunk the Kool-Aid, not the Get Real Kool-Aid, but the Kool-Aid around branding and how important it is and what they need to do and the discipline and the consistency. I like to always leave with our listeners like an action plan to really turn this theory into something relevant for them in their business. So branding is we've already said it's a long-term strategy. Could you give us a 7-day mini action plan based on drinking the branding topic today? What can our listeners do each day for the next week to move their own branding needle?
I love that question. First and foremost, keep it simple. Sometimes people overthink a task like this, and there's no need to, because it should come from your heart. It should be that emotional part of it. And I love the exercise always of collaboration. I think more than one person, always super important, because what you get back from just a general conversation, just you and I, bantering back and forth. Think about how awesome the communication is and what I learned from you and what you learned from me. So step one, it's all about quality and not quantity. So let's have a conversation. Identify, number one, emotion. Step one, identify the emotion of your brand. That's it, right? And whiteboard it, put it on a chalkboard, put it on a tablet, I don't care. But you've got to identify the heart and soul of what it is you're out to cause. Forget about the long term of making money and being successful. That'll come. Heart and soul. Take a breath. That's step one. Step two, now carve out who your audience is. Understand your audience, and not just male, female, but who they are, the persona. What makes them tick? What do they do on the day? What kind of breakfast do they eat? Do they like to go for a run? Really understand those people. It's kind of like dating. When you go on these dating apps and you say, okay, I'm gonna start dating, I'm gonna start studying who I want to date. Same thing. This is your dating app. Okay. So that's step 2. Understand your audience. Step 3 then is connecting the emotional part of it to who you identified as your audience. But then you're going to craft from that your authentic language. And you're going to exercise that just like a workout routine. And you're going to exercise it on day 3 because you're going to test drive it. And so when you exercise that with that language, you're going to ask yourself, did what I identified with my emotional part of my brand and connecting it with the audience, did it actually produce authentic language? Is it forced or is it authentic? That's day 3. And that should be a very long, drawn out exercise. You can jump in and then take a break, jump back in, take a break. And the reason why I say that is because organically, your authentic message will bubble up. And you've got to make sure you have that. Day 4, you want to create materials that meet the needs based on the brand emotion, right? So we've had step 1, 2, 3. So if we have that language and it's organic, then you're going to create some material based off of that. That's your second part of your test drive, if you will. It has to meet the needs of your brand emotion, because if it doesn't, there's a disconnect. And when there's a disconnect, you don't have the lifeblood going through. So that's a really important part of day 4. Day 5, sit back, relax, and evaluate your effort. Then you can fine tune and expand on your voice. If you feel really good and solid about that foundation you've developed so far, just sit back and evaluate it. It's okay to pick it apart. And then ask yourself the what ifs. What if I did this versus that? What happens, right? And that's really that fine tune of your widget. And that's where you start to fine tune your brand. And then that's really when your authentic voice starts to come out and it presents itself. After that, you're going to evolve as your audience evolves anyway. So day 6 is you ask yourself, what do I want to be when I grow up? Remember when I said the sales will come, don't worry about them? This is that midway checkpoint of what do I want to be when I grow up? If I evolved my message and I am talking to the right audience because I've identified the right audience, and I have written my words and I have created the look, what does that look like when I grow up? Does it make sense and does it still connect? And that's almost like reverse engineering. So you're looking ahead and then coming back, and it's a checkpoint milestone. After that, and you feel really good and solid about it, then you start crafting your plans. And your plans then become where you meet your audience. Where do I meet you? Do I meet you on social? Do I meet you on digital? Do I meet you in a TV ad? Do I meet you all of the above? Meet your audience where they are, though. And you can only do that if you have accurately identified your audience in that step 3. And so meeting your audience where they are is also a very disciplined approach, because the easy button becomes very easy at this stage. And you don't want to do that. Don't hit your easy button. Just say to yourself, all right, what do I really want to do? And just quality, not quantity. So take one step at a time. If I want to meet my audience on social media, start there and test it out a little bit. A brand, by the way, is also ever evolving, not a huge shift left and right, not a knee jerk, but a slow evolution of, I think I want to tweak here. Maybe I want to add baby blue to my color palette. Instead of just one blue, I have variations of blue. I have gradients, or I have variations of words. A word cloud is always a great place to go to start putting those, active words on there, or descriptive words, and then just start plucking from that word cloud as you evolve and brand plan.
That's a great 7-day plan. I'm adding day 8, then write it all down in your brand standards. Kim, great chat, really fascinating discussion. And what I really like about this chat is that we're able to scale this conversation regardless of the business. This is the theory to what we need to do to be successful in business. So I'm really grateful for the way you broke this down and made it so relevant for everybody that's listening today, whether they have a brand enforced upon them, they've learned how they can grow that brand or drink that Kool-Aid, or whether they've really got to redo their whole brand. It's been a great chat. I'm so grateful for your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I really appreciate it talking to you and appreciate the time.
Gee whiz, I hate playing the game of who was my favourite guest in season 3. But Kim, you're right up there with so many tips with practical examples for all of us. You seriously rocked. Thank you for your time. So who was your favourite guest this season? Saran, Fletcher, Danielle, Sharma, Brian, or was it Kim? Maybe it was Lindsay, Matt, Kathleen, or Frank from our online events. I'd love to know who you thought was your favourite guest this season. So why not leave me a voice message? Just go to fitnessbusinesspodcast.com/leave a voice message. I recently saw a demo of a solution to drive member loyalty, which in turn will enhance retention or have your members stay longer. To be honest, if you're a club or a fitness studio that hasn't launched a member loyalty program in 2025, and you are running the risk of getting left behind, My Gym Rewards is a ripper app that you'll love and your members will love too. And when you contact them, you'll actually speak with the founder, Frank. As a former gym owner, he's extremely empathetic to your needs and has built a platform he wished he had. I was blown away how easy My Gym Rewards was to set up and then see results where members engage during every single visit. And make sure you also ask Frank about white custom labeling because that looks super schmick. All the contact details for My Gym Rewards are in the show notes. And if you're an FBP insider, well, Frank will give you 25% off your subscription plus access to his Member Loyalty Academy dashboard. This is a great benefit to being an FPP insider. So check out mygymrewards.com and tell Frank you heard about My Gym Rewards on the Fitness Business Podcast. At the Fitness Business Podcast, we want you to make money from every square foot of your club. So for our US listeners today, we have Dan from Simple Again, who shares how you can make money more easily than ever before with smoothies.
Welcome to our 3-minute sponsors pitch on the Fitness Business Podcast. We spotlight a Rex Roundtable trusted supplier who provides innovative solutions to help you enhance your facility, boost member engagement, and increase profitability. Stay tuned to discover their suggested actions to elevate your fitness business to the next level.
Hey, Dan here. I am the founder of Performance Food Centers. I started this little company 25 years ago, and then today we're in about 3,000 locations. The idea back then, as it is today, we want to bring healthy foods to people who care about their bodies and simplify the complex world of nutrition while we're doing that. So if you want to learn more about myself, my contact information, check the show notes at fitnessbusinesspodcast.com. So we do this in the manner of juice bars, or more succinctly put, the smoothie or shake bars. And we bring in a whole host of ingredients that are shelf stable and that are 100% clean. We allow nothing artificial, nothing synthetic, no GMOs, no hormones, no antibiotics. We are the cleanest ingredient that any juice bar in America today will serve, and probably the healthiest meal that your member will drink all day. So consider that recovering post-workout, you're going to want to put clean ingredients in your body. You'll be able to do that at your juice bar. If you don't have a juice bar, or if you don't have a place to put your juice bar, you'd like us to design it, we can do that. We can build it, we can install it, or we can come into your space and simply adapt to any situation you have there. And we'll train your staff on how to talk about and how to make the perfect shake every time. And you're going to find that the ingredients that you're serving are going to taste amazing. And you're going to see your members achieve their goals faster than they ever have. We drive more members to the juice bar than any other company. And we do that not only by bringing healthy ingredients, but also by teaching them. And we do that in the form of a lot of marketing materials and educational materials, which will come your way forever. So if you want to learn more about the process and what we can do for you, call me or email me today. Remember, my contact details are in the show notes at fitnessbusinesspodcast.com. Looking forward to talking to you.
Make sure to check out other Rex Roundtable's trusted suppliers. Atlanta Strength, made by and for those who are dedicated to shaping greatness. ABC Fitness provides gym management and software solutions. Digital Revenue Systems, offering digital revenue opportunities for you. Centre Hyrox, the official equipment provider for Hyrox. Covery, wellness recovery franchise, offering cutting-edge restorative services. You can find all of their links in today's show notes. So thank you for tuning in to Season 3. I feel we are getting better quality education. I think my questions are getting sharper, and I know our show notes are providing more details and links just for you. I definitely want to hear, though, from you. So please leave me a voice message, send us an email, smoke signal, drop a message into any of our social platforms. My email is info@fitnessbusinesspodcast.com. This is your podcast, and we want to provide content you want. So please tell us how we can help you. Please make guest suggestions. We want to hear from you. A special thanks to my team, Jamie from Brave Moon Podcasts and Alicia from Active Management, for their help putting together this season. I really appreciate you both. Now, enjoy the next month catching up, and I'm going to see you for Season 4 very soon. What we leave behind is not set in stone monuments, but what is woven into the lives of others.